Alright, hi guys, Ryan back here again. Unfortunately, getting screwed pretty hard today. As y'all know, if you watched the last video, or maybe the last two videos, I think I mentioned it, I ended up taking a $9 a mile load from Ohio here down in Worcester, Ohio, over to Greensburg, Pennsylvania, over on the other west side, or east side of Pittsburgh. And sorry about that. I didn't bring none of my sound gear or nothing, or even the little stick thing. So I got the camera, my phone up on the dashboard on this video. So if the sound quality isn't up to par, which you're normally used to, I apologize for that. Because like I said, I didn't plan on being here this long. I figured I'd be here a couple hours, but not this long. And the kicker was, so originally I booked this load. Had a 1300 1 p.m. Pickup time for you non-military folks. So I left at, it was raining, kind of a bad omen. I was out moving some equipment stuff around the yard at about 10 o'clock, 10:15 this morning. It was pouring, it's been pouring out and raining for like a week up here in Northeast Ohio. So I was getting some stuff moved around, had to run down and bring my water pump up from the creek down there just in case it came up. I didn't want that. We already lost one pump a couple of years ago. I didn't want to lose another one because they're pretty expensive, about $800. So ran out and grabbed that, and like out of nowhere, like at 10:30, it starts snowing here on Mother's Day, May 9th. And I'm sorry, I keep looking back to see if that light turns green, so if I can get out of here. So I'm a little distracted. So here, Mother's Day, May 9th, snow, like big slushy snow, and like I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm getting ready. I was gonna leave like at 11. It's like 10:30ish now in the morning. And because I had a 1 p.m. down here, I wanted to be down. I always like to be 45 minutes or an hour early for my pickups and deliveries. So it starts slushy snow and it starts sticking to things, and I'm like, there's gonna be wrecks everywhere. These people, they're all going out to eat, and that's like the American pastime these days, is going out and driving around and going out to eat. So I was like, they're gonna be wrecked everywhere. It's gonna be a disaster, and I don't want to be late. So I was like, gotta be 10. I was like, when I told my wife I'm just gonna go now because I need to stop and get fuel anyways. So that was the first bad omen right there when that kind of came out of nowhere. Not to mention, if you watch our farming channel, I planted some sweet corn and some other stuff, and with the rain and the cold, that's going to be a total loss. So, unfortunately, and now I'm going to have to wait probably weeks before it dries back up again to redo that stuff. So I get down here at 12:15. I go in. There's a guy in there, pretty nice, a younger guy. Check in and give him my pickup number and all that. He's like, "Whoa, you're way early," and I was like, since when's 45 minutes way early? And he's like, your appointment time's at 6. And I'm like, I have a 5 a.m. delivery at U.S. Foods in Greensburg, which is 3 hours from here. But now, since I started my clock that early, I've got this huge spread in time. And now it's a little after 1800, so now I live an hour away from here. There's no place for me to park in here, because if I park anywhere, we can't park on the street at Landstar, as you know. I won't do that. And there's a street that goes through this place, and on the other side across from me is I'm going to be blocking something in if I try to park over there, and obviously I probably can't stay on the dock, so staying here on site is not an option. So it's after 7 now, so I needed to leave by 2 a.m. So to even get, I've been here for almost 6 hours, to even get a 7-hour split break in, I would have needed it's an hour back up to my house, and my house is actually on the way. So to even get a 7-hour split break, a 7-3 split in, I would have had to have left 10 minutes ago, and I'm still here with the red light, so that's not an option either. So actually, as soon as I found out this appointment was screwed up, I called the agent, and actually had called in and talked to like one of the it was like a foreign call. So a lot of Landstar agents use these foreign agents or whatever. So I ended up getting one of those. So I left her. I told her, I was like, this is all screwed up. So I left her. She's like, oh, we'll call you, contact you back. So I actually got somebody else here in the U.S. that seemed like somebody more senior at the agency. She called me back, and at first she's like, well, maybe best is to cancel it. And I was like, well, I mean, if I can get out of here by 5, because I'd like to get at least an 8-hour break in. If I can get out of here by 5, get home by 6, I could get that 8-hour break in. But I was kind of holding that 7-hour break in my back pocket, not saying anything about that, so that's what I was telling 5. So I always like to keep, when I'm talking to agent stuff, and shippers, receivers, always like to keep me an extra hour at least that I don't tell them about, just in case. So that kind of, lights a fire under their butt maybe to get something done, and then you still got an extra hour if they run over. So Little tip there, always kind of save an hour at least for yourself that you don't tell them about. So anyways, like I said, we're past that threshold now, and like I told her I'd like to stay on the load because it pays $1,000 to the truck for basically 24 hours. And then I guess she sent out a bunch of emails because she had to, like I said, Mother's Day, she had a brunch or something, and some other guy was supposed to contact me. I've tried contacting him, and I've left messages, and he won't answer the phone and stuff like that. So I'm kind of here. So I sent a text message, and somebody texted me back and said, well, keep track of your time. And I'm like, well, we're kind of past, I don't really care about the time. I'm not going to go. I mean, those of you who know food places, U.S. Foods, they've got fines for being late. If I show up late, they're going to fine the carrier, and on top of that, make me sit there all day. And I'm not doing that. So I'm not even going to go there late. So they're going to have to figure this out and reschedule it before I even proceed to the shipper. And that's what I texted this other person that I've been talking to, that I'm not even going to attempt the delivery until they get it straightened out, because this isn't my problem. Actually, a 6 p.m. appointment would have been okay if I would have known to be here at 6 p.m. Then I could have just drove it straight through, since it's going to take them over 6 hours to load this thing anyways, evidently. So I could have left out of here at midnight or 1 and went straight there. It'd been fine. So anyways, the moral of this story is that, $9 load, sounds really good. But the thing about trucking and owner-operator trucking is that when something's too good to be true, it almost always is. I mean, yeah, I've gotten lucky on some high-paying loads before, and things have went okay, but like stuff like this, when something's short and it's paying this much, chances are that you're going to get screwed one way or another. So, and that's why they pay so much. I just got the green light here, so I'm going to hold that thought out here for a minute and finish this up in a second. All right, so we're back here 3 days later on this video. So video 3 days in the making. So as where I left off there a minute ago for you guys, I was down in Wooster, Ohio, getting loaded at Frito-Lay down there, loaded potato chips, floor load. After I jumped out there, went out there, had to shut the doors and all that. I actually saw what it all was, and it's like 2 by 2 by 2 cubic foot boxes, basically. Stacked from the floor to the ceiling, from the front of the back, from the front of the trailer to the back of the trailer. So that's why it took 6.5 hours to load. So now I kind of had some issues with the agent on this one, and so it's always good that you're going to want to make sure you have some type of paper trail or electronic paper trail, emails, text, or whatever, instead of just going by voice with somebody or word of mouth, even if you trust them. Because if I wouldn't have had the text messages, I probably would have gotten some trouble on this load. So as y'all know, I was talking before, I was already past that 6 p.m. threshold there to be able to get a sleeper break in at my house. Then I run this down Monday morning, so now it's Wednesday morning. So I got back that night, back at the house at about 7:30, and the agent actually, this agency has like a foreign call center over in India or someplace. So I guess they were working at night because it would have been Monday there. So I got a text message from them asking me to update like when I was going to be there, or they asked me what would the earliest ETA be that I could be down here. And I sent a text message back and I said I could be there, my 10-hour break would be up at 5:30. Time I get started and everything, it'd be 3 hours roughly to get down here, which would put me down here at 8:30 a.m. on Monday. So I sent that back and I said, but, and I put in there, that's if I'm notified before 5:30 a.m. that you guys want me, that it's okay to go down there. Because I'm not going to, the thing is, with these loads like this, these floor loads or food places, like this is U.S. Foods here in Greensburg, PA. If you show up late, over a half hour late to most of these places, first of all, they're going to charge you a late fee. Second of all, you're going to be at work-in. And third of all, with that, you forfeit all your detention. So basically, they could let you sit here for 5 or 6 hours, and then put you in a dock, and a guy come over and grab a box and walk away for half an hour. Come over and grab a box, walk away for half an hour, whatever they want to do, because they know they're not going to pay you. So that's why I pretty well refused until I had, it wasn't my fault that they screwed up the appointments. They shouldn't have had that appointment on Monday. They probably should have had it scheduled for Tuesday, knowing, I mean, that's probably why they're paying so much on these loads. Like I said, when something seems too good to be true, it usually is in this business. So it wasn't my fault. You know, there was no way I could have made it there. I did everything I was supposed to do. I was there on time, contacted the agent, told him the situation, stayed there, got loaded, then updated him afterwards and told him what I could do, and I wasn't notified. So I get up about 8:45. So I never heard anything. That was all I heard that night. They didn't say go ahead and go. And I put in there, I was like, I need the appointment to be rescheduled because I'm not coming down to US Foods without an appointment, because that's just asking for trouble. So I about 8:40, so I didn't go. So about 8:45, I get another text message from the same person, asking me if I've arrived at the receiver yet, or the customer. And I replied, I said, no, nobody ever gave me confirmation to continue on to the shipper at this point. I was waiting to hear from you guys back on a reschedule. So then like 15, that's what I wrote it. And then like 15 minutes later, I get another text back saying, well, we told the shipper you were going to be there. And I'm like, well, nobody told me. So I picked up the phone and called at that point because I was getting frustrated. And I talked to this girl, and she's like, what you said in your text. And I was like, well, let me look. She's like, because I guess their texts are on their computer or whatever. And she pulled up the text, and I'm like, well, you must have just stopped reading at the point which you should have read like another sentence farther that said that I needed to be notified. And then she's, then, you know, that was the end of that conversation, basically. So I waited, told him, I called back, and I actually called that lady that I had talked to. I called and left a voicemail to the lady over here, and that must be one of the more senior management people or owners or whatever of the agency here in the U.S. I called and left her a message, told her the whole situation. I'm like, obviously, there's been a disconnect here, and, you know, we talked about this, and evidently these other people that your minions or whatever don't know what's going on. So about 2 hours later, I got a call back and said they had my appointment rescheduled for Wednesday here, the 12th at 5 a.m. So I ran down here and checked in and everything. Pretty easy check-in process here. I mean, I've been in the dock since like 4. I got here like at 4:10, 10 after 4. I was the only one here, so luckily it's kind of tight back in here. So I'm glad I was the first one here because I was able to just kind of come in around where all the dock, you know, just swoop through all the open docks here and just back straight in. But the guy next to me back here kind of had a hard time since I was parked here before him. So, and the lady was nice people to check in with here. The lady up there, she's like, yeah, you're gonna be here for a while with that floor load and all that. And I was like, yeah, I'm already mentally prepared for it. So, yeah, so might take a little nap here later. So, anyways, short story long there with everything. So the moral of the story is, when you see something paying, I mean, most of the time I've seen something paying. I mean, there's been a few times where I've had really high paying loads, and I'm like, and I just breeze right through them with no problems. But a lot of times, like this load, it was originally on the board for like $7 and something a mile, and then they kicked it up to $9, and that's when I called, because I'm guessing that everybody around here that knows the location. I mean, I've done, out of Frito-Lay down there in Worcester, I've done loads with Snyder. They were dropping hook pickup loads most of the time, pretty much every time. I've done a lot. I've done a couple floor unloads on chips, but I've never done a floor load and offload, or live offload, live onload, live offload. So I've never done both that way. So this is the first time in my years of doing this. So, anyways. So yeah, usually if they keep raising the price on something, there's usually a reason why. Like I said, it looked like a good, I mean, I'm not mad or anything. And they actually gave me they gave me $180 for detention already, for that pickup, side of this. So I'm already up to like $10 a mile now. And we'll see what happens down here, because I'm over 3 hours. I believe they get 3 hours, and I'm already over 3 hours past my appointment at this point. So we'll see what happens. But again, and I even asked the guy when I called to book the load, I was kind of like, what's the catch here? And he's, oh, no, there's no catch. So like they pretty well left out the details that, yeah, it's probably going to take you 6 hours to get loaded and 6 hours to get unloaded. Which I'd rather have the honesty and just tell me up front. And, you know, then we could at that point, we could have talked about that other appointment time and had that all hashed out before I even picked up the load and been like, hey, this, you know, if I'm picking up at this time,
and I'm going to be there this long, this appointment isn't going to work, or we'd had to figure out some other arrangement. So it'd been nice to know that up front. So that was kind of frustrating. The other thing, like I said, is always when you get in that situation where there's going to be a he said, she said type of thing, do emails or text messages. Or I asked the lady here in the U.S. that I was talking to out in Colorado on this. So I even asked her to, like, if she could, from what we had discussed, I asked her if she could copy me on the email or send me something confirming this, and she never did. So I mean, luckily everything worked out the way it did. So, and I had the text messages back and forth from the other people. So yeah, I mean, like I said, in this business, when something seems too good to be true, it usually is. And this not only goes for high paying loads a lot of times, but if you're shopping for a new carrier to go work for or something like that, you know, somebody's telling you, oh, we're 100% dropping hook, we're going to give you $3 a mile, you're going to make $8,000 a week take home, and all this stuff. There's usually That's probably not true, because I have known several people that have gotten into things like that where, you know, they're saying, well, you know, you're going to get 80%, you got to pay for the trailer, and then they go there and work there, and the first month and all that, you know, they're actually paying, you know, with all the fees and nickel and diamond they do on everything. You're basically paying them to work there for the most part. So really do your research on stuff. I mean, not only with loads, but if you're looking at other carriers and all that. I mean, this trucking out here, owner-operator trucking especially, it's all like a big shell game. I mean, you can go work for somebody for 65% or 75% or 80%, but really in the end, I mean, even if you're looking at getting your own authority, that's why I've never been interested in getting my own authority, because really than having a little bit more freedom and all that, or being able, you know, not me kind of being, I mean, if you have my own authority, I'm pretty much at the top. I mean, I'm not really responsible to anybody but myself and you know, whatever brokers that I might be dealing with at the time. But as far as the numbers and all that, it really doesn't matter where you go. It usually works out at the end. Like I said, here at Landstar with the company van, I get 65% line haul plus 100% fuel surcharge. I don't pay anything for the trailer. That's out of that 35% that they take. So when you guys, the guys those of you that have been watching me for a while know that I was over at Mercer, and I've also was at Snyder as an owner operator for a while. When I was over at Mercer, they give you 75%, but you pay $640 or something for the trailer a month. And then if you run over like 7,500, I can't remember the exact number, a little over 7,000 miles a month, which when I'm running long haul, I mean, I'm running closer to 10 or 12,000 miles a month. So they started charging you for mileage as well. So sometimes I'd have like $100 in mileage charges on top of that. So the time you figure that in, you deduct that from that other percentage. I mean, it just depends on the loads and all that. You might come out a couple percentage points better. But I know, like when I was at Mercer, I didn't really care for the freight and their load board and how they had the load coordinators kind of in between you and the freight. So it really, it kind of works out the same. I mean, it really just is this how how you want to run your business, or how your mind's kind of works. Like me, I just kind of want to I want to get on a load board, find my own loads. I want to be able to see everything in the country at any time, any radius, look at as many states as I want. And so it just works better for me. And because I have those tools at my disposal, I can make more money at Landstar, even though at Mercer they might have been paying a higher percentage. That's just how your mind kind of works and how you want to run things. But so if something's a company's that you're going to go work for is a little bit tailored more to how you want to operate, you can obviously, even though their percentage might be higher, you can make more money there because it works out better for your operation. So I mean, and as far as going like your own authority, the turnoffs for me on that, I mean, I just don't really see, other than, like I said, not having anybody above you or anybody calling you, bothering you, which like at Landstar I rarely get bothered anyways. I mean, other than not really having anybody to answer to other than yourself and the law and all that. The time that you buy a trailer, you pay for insurance, which, I mean, if you don't, when you first start up with your own authority, your insurance is going to be pretty high. You know, your general liability insurance and all that. Like here at Landstar, our general liability insurance is covered by Landstar, other 35% as well. So you're going to have probably 10 to 15, maybe even $20,000 a year just in insurance, possibly. So you got to deduct that and, you know, turn that into a percentage that you have to deduct. And then the other thing people don't think about is like factoring, which if you don't know what factoring is, that's where if you're working for other brokers like Convoy, Coyote, C.H. Robinson, and all those players, they don't pay you after you finish the load. They actually, some of those places might take 30, 60, 90 days out before they pay you for that load. If some of them, the fly-by-night ones, if they ever pay you. So you have to subscribe to us. If you want to get paid every week or after you drop the load, you got to subscribe to like a factoring service, which basically you give them a percentage, which can range like from 2 to 7% roughly, give or take. And they basically front you the money and pay you whatever your deal is, if they're paying you after the load or every week or whatever. And so they front you the money, and then they collect from the broker that you're dealing with. And then there's a lot of different add-ons to that. I mean, there's where you can actually have it to where if you don't get paid, you'd be paying a higher percentage on your factoring, to where it's kind of like insurance, to where if a broker doesn't pay you, then they still pay you. The factoring service pays you, and then they go after the broker for the money or whatever. So it's kind of their problem. But like I said, you can get up 2 to 7% roughly, depending on what you're getting with that package or your service. So that eats into that. So there's a lot of different things. Then you got to consider in discounts. Like if you're with a big carrier with like Landstar or Mercer or whoever. I mean, Mercer had pretty good fuel discounts, tire discounts. I mean, tire discounts weren't as good as Landstar's are here, but the fuel discounts are roughly the same. So you start factoring all this stuff in, and time you buy a trailer, pay more for insurance. You're not getting the big discounts. You're not getting. I mean, yeah, you might get a fuel card or something with 15 cents or something off, but like here at Landstar, sometimes I'm getting 50 cents, 70 cents. You know, it just depends on where you're at and where you're going to, what part of the country you're in, and all that. But like I've had places where I've gotten $1 off. You know, out in Washington and stuff like that at times, where I've gotten pretty substantial discounts. So all that kind of comes into play. Then you deduct all that stuff, turn it into a percentage, and deduct all that. And the other thing too is, like, if you have your own authority, you're still not going to get 100% of the load. I mean, usually between 80 and 90 is what you're going to get, because like I said, C.H. Robinson, whatever broker you're dealing with, Uber Freight, they're not going to give you loads out of the goodness of their heart. They're keeping a percentage of that as well. I mean, the only thing is, like, if you're with Landstar, obviously, you know, if say C.H. Robinson's paying 85 or 90 or whatever they pay, you know, then you're only getting, with Landstar, you're getting 65% of that. So you're taking a little bit of hit. But again, you got to consider all those extra fixed expenses that you have. So like for me, like I said, it never really made sense. So like I said, I know I got probably off topic on this, but like I said, the moral of the story is, like I said, in this business, when something's too good to be true, it usually is. And usually it doesn't really matter where you go. I mean, if you really look at the numbers and run and push things around and you know, take the shells off the little shell game thing and put everything together, I mean, most places actually works out to about the same. It's just a matter of who you like working for, or if you don't want to work for somebody, or how you want to run your business. So anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. So I just thought I would share what's going on here. So hopefully I'm still getting unloaded here. So hopefully they'll get me out of here pretty soon. But I was kind of figuring I probably wouldn't be back till around noon anyways. So see what happens here. So I think I'm going to grab a little nap back here, because I've been up since 2 o'clock, and pretty well hopefully get out of here and get back home. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell for the updates. Like the video. Like I said, we always got Landstar stuff going on here, owner-op stuff, truck maintenance, things like that. Probably going to be getting into more, starting my new maintenance business. So probably going to be kind of shifting gears towards more maintenance type of stuff here in the future, once get that truck up and running here, hopefully next week. So if you're interested in that stuff, stay tuned for that. Again, like I said, if you guys are interested in the farm stuff, we moved that to the other channel. We always put the link for that channel in the descriptions of these videos as well. So if you're interested in farming, tractors, antique equipment, animals, and all that stuff, check that channel out as well. So again, thanks for watching, and take care. You know, comment, ask questions, whatever you need to do on there, and we'll get back to you when we can. And I guess, again, we'll see you next time.